Okay, today I am going to show you how to repair the gauges on a 03 to 06 Chevy Suburban, Tahoe, Yukon, Silverado, and first I'm going to show you what a working set looks like and why that's important. You see that all the gauges are set to 0, if we're at the right angle anyway. So that's what it should be when it keys off. If any of your gauges are in any position other than 0, then you know that gauge is broken, that stepper motor. Watch what happens when you turn it on. The voltage and the fuel level come up. Well, the temperature and oil doesn't, because it's cold. And then when you shut it off, they reset themselves to 0. So when you put the gauge set back together, all you have to do is put them all at 0. And you're done. Okay, so now I've got the old broken gauge set out. And you can see that this gauge and this gauge aren't at 0. They're not at, well, in this case it'd be 9 and 160 at the bottom mark. And the rest of them all work fine. So we're going to be replacing both of these stepper motors. Actually ordered a set of 6 stepper motors. It's like $16, $17 off of Amazon, and I'll try and put a link to that. And it comes with new bulbs, which I don't need. So I've already got the face cover off, which just pops on. It's real straightforward. And then we have to remove each one of these dial pins, and then take this face cover off. Then we'll turn it over and unsolder these two things. So we start here, and you'll need to use like something to pry with, a screwdriver or something. And again, it doesn't matter that we don't need to mark these or anything, because we just once we put it back together, we set it in the truck, we plug it in, turn the key on, turn the key off. That resets everything at 0. Then we put all the pins back at 0, and it should be good to go. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this apart. It also doesn't matter which one's which. They're all the same except for the 2 long ones. And when you put it back together, you want to make sure you put in your menu button, or whatever you call that. Set that aside, take that out, take off this inner, I don't know what they call it, but it's for spreading the light out from the bulbs to the whole system. Set those aside. And again, we're going to remove these two. So I'm going to flip it over. We got to remove this back cover. So we're going to put this here. I'll take my soldering iron and a solder sucker and go to work. just going to straighten out these pins because they bend them over to hold them in before soldering. Straighten them out, make sure they're loose. And they may pop off a little bit from the edge where they're still soldered, but that's fine. That should be it. And I just want to push these through, these pins, like that. And they're loose. Over, lift them out, set on the side. And the trash can. And you're just going to set in the new ones, same position. They only go in one way because of the two different pins. Press them down to place real good and hold them real quick, and then come and bend those pins over so that they will stay in place. So we can turn it fully upside down and resolder it. that's it. All soldered up. So we're going to set the cover back on. And that holds that together. Set this inner piece back on, and your button back on, and that's it. Next step is we go out and we plug it in, we turn the key on, and then turn the key off, and then place all of the dials back at their 0 positions, and then test again to make sure that everything's in the correct position. One trick about that is when you put it back on, sometimes you don't get it right, or you turn the stepper motor a little bit. So when you first do it, you want to just put it on just a little bit. You don't want to press it down real hard because they are a pain to get off. So you press it down a little bit, make sure it's in the right spot. If not, try it again, and then each time you reset it, you have to turn the key on and off to make sure it resets to 0. And then you just put the faceplate back on and bolt it back into the dash. Okay, so we're back in the Suburban, and first thing we're doing is turn the key on and put the shifter lever down while holding the brake. Then I'm going to put the gauge set down in here and plug it in. Alright, plug it in and set it somewhat into position. It's not really critical because we're going to pull it back out anyway. Once you have it set in there and plugged in, you're going to turn the key on and then back off and take your key out. Now that should have reset all the stepper motors to their 0 point. So now all we do is put the dials back on at 0. And again, you want to do this just a little bit. You don't want to press them on real hard because sometimes it's off a little bit and you want to reset them. Well, let's see how that worked. I'll put the key back in and turn it on. And then off. Okay, so apparently rotating the key did not reset it fully. So we're going to adjust this one slightly, and then this one a lot. And this one a little. And the other two look pretty good. So we're start it again. And then shut it off. And that seems to be about perfect. Alright, so now that we got that set, I'm going to shut it off. I'm going to push all these on firmly. And then do it one more time. Now on my other truck, just rotating the key reset the gauges, but on this one it seems to only reset once the engine is started. So just do whatever works on yours. And so that's basically it. We just gotta pull it back out, put the face cover on. Might be able to put the face cover on in there, and then pop it all back together, and we're done.